Hello, my name is Khurram Aziz, and this is probably the only video I'm going to make on the subject. We'll see what comes after that, if anyone has any queries. And it's on the subject of self-realization, enlightenment, and awakening, or in particular, awakening versus liberation. And I feel that I am uniquely qualified to speak on these topics, having been on the spiritual quest for the better part of my adult life, let's say adult and young life, early life. What we see going on at the moment is an obvious signs of a great awakening. A lot of people who are on the path, the lonesome spiritual path, and making great headway, one might say, okay, spiritual progress, as it's called. And a lot of very good teachers who instruct them in the run-of-the-mill teachings of Advaita, Vedanta, and non-duality. And they do a very good job of it, yeah, sure. That can't be denied. However, I want to emphasize that these people don't seem to be aware of the difference between an awakened state and a liberated state, the state of final liberation, also known as Jivanmukti or Moksha, Nirvana in the Buddhist tradition. And, besides that, I want to make it clear that this is not something that can be attained through effort of any kind whatsoever, and is probably, my feeling, the result of a natural maturation of spiritual practice over a certain length of time, or perhaps even just a freak or an accident that can happen just like that for no apparent reason. In some cases I've read about. In any case, there is a distinction between the awakened state and the natural state or liberated state. And that is characterized by an event that takes place in the late stage of a spiritual seeker's path, when the search is burning itself out naturally. And it need not follow the prescribed path of the Vedantins, the Advaitins, such as Ramana Maharshi and other teachers, where one has to get rid of one's tendencies first. This could happen with tendencies intact, as happened in my case. And what happened is, put simply, ego death, the erasure of the ego, partly or to a great extent. And that is could be a painful experience. It's certainly cataclysmic by any by any standard. It would be akin to losing a tooth, a painful tooth, having it extracted, or having it fall out by its own accord, or an amputation of a limb. You really do lose something, and it never comes back. But the bonus, the good side of it is the mechanism for psychological suffering has been uprooted permanently, and the separate self, the time-bound self, has been extinguished. That's why nirvana in the Buddhist tradition literally means snuffed out. And that's what happened to me 3 years ago. I practiced self-inquiry for over 30 years and studied intensely with a number of different teachers, including Barry Long, Ramana Maharshi, Dalfried John, Jean Klein, and I eventually came across the teachings of U.G. Krishnamurti, and I couldn't stomach that at all, I thought. But it wouldn't let go of me, his ideas. He obviously triggered me to such an extent that I began to seriously question whether the teachings of Ramana and others were going to bring me to my goal of enlightenment. So I was really curious to know, more than curious, absolutely had a burning desire to know what their state was and to be in that state, permanently established in it. And now I have, by fate or chance or grace, I'm in that state for 3 years, since 3 years. And you could say the person is gone. And there's a complete subsidence of thought. It's not called the natural state Sahaja Samadhi for nothing. Sahaja Samadhi means easy Samadhi. That means there is no more activity of the mind. The thoughts have ceased. There's a complete cessation of mental activity, and the mechanism for psychological suffering has been, as if surgically operated upon, removed completely. So the mechanism for suffering makes suffering, psychological suffering, impossible, although the physical body of the Jnani remains subject to vagaries of fate. It still feels pain, cold, hunger, and all the rest of it. But there's a definite uncoupling of the spirit, the consciousness, awareness, from the body identification. Before that time, I never understood what they meant. I'm not the body. To be quite honest with you, I always felt I was a body, and I never had a revulsion for my body as Ramana did and other teachers in the ascetic tradition. I was quite happy indulging my desires as long as I didn't harm anyone. That was my credo. Only when this happened did I feel a distinction between myself as awareness, as life force, and the body. And the body felt like a corpse to me for quite a while, which is quite an interesting perception of paradox. I hope that's made things clearer. I did an early video, but it was a bit chaotic, a little bit more clear in my ability to present my ideas in this video. So, awakening is a great place to be, and most people who are in that state can stay that way most of their lives, or they might even perish in that state. But it's quite distinct from final liberation, moksha, which is characterized, as I said, by ego death, and that comes out of the blue. It cannot be forced or created by the mind. So a lot of these states are mind-created states, as Yuji correctly pointed out. A lot of these are samadhis and the like, and they're repetitive. And you got to be very honest with yourself. If you are still lonely and bored, then you're not enlightened, because in that state, the ultimate liberated state, there's no one to feel bored, no one to feel enlightened, no one to feel bored, no one to feel lonely. And well, you can sit around doing nothing all day long if you like. I did that for 3 years without a tinge of guilt. Anyway, that's my 5 cents worth, and I wish you a very happy New Year. Happy New Now. Thank you.